Well, welcome back to Outcast, beautiful Oho people. It's really good to have you back, or here for the first time for episode 7 of our live stream about all things made with love by passionate people in regional Victoria. Of course, if you've missed the last few episodes where we've talked honey, hot sauce, energy bars, cheese, wine and toasties, well, those episodes are of course available on our various social media platforms, Instagram TV, YouTube, and also on Facebook for you to watch back at any time. Do make sure that you follow our social pages to get the notifications when we do go live with Outcast. Also, a huge thank you to those who've watched Outcast so far, and thanks to everyone who's gone on to purchase goods from Oho Markets on our website or from the producers directly. We really do encourage you to support our amazing Victorian regional producers by buying from them in the curated selections at Oho Markets or on any of the Click for Vic campaigns, which are amazing at the moment, or any of the collections that various local bodies have put together as well. And of course, don't forget, most of our producers have got amazing online presence and you can buy directly from them too. So if this is a live stream, everybody, so if you're watching it live and right now, then please do feel free to ask your questions and make your comments. Especially today, there's a little incentive for you to comment today and we love hearing from you. So today on the show, I'm talking to Mandy Bishop from Platypi Chocolate in Forrest. That's Forrest, and that's my dog talking to us, Mandy. So Forrest is a tiny little hamlet in the Otways inland of the Great Ocean Road. Mandy, welcome to 1 Hour Outcast, and a special welcome to Rosie, who is making her first appearance there. Obviously, the neighbours are bringing the bins in, Mandy.
That's great. Dogs can't have chocolate though, Mike.
No,
so.
no, there's a chemical in chocolate that's not good for dogs, I understand.
Which is good. We don't have to share.
That's right. Well, Mandy, can you tell us about Forrest and exactly where that is and what's it like there?
Okay, well, it varies from day to day. We've had all 4 seasons in the last week. Forrest is a small country town in the Otway Ranges. It's on the inland route to Apollo Bay. So if you imagine climbing over those mountains that you are driving along one side off on the Great Ocean Road, we're on the flip side, just between Lorne and Apollo Bay, but over the mountains. So a lot of people come through here on their way to Apollo Bay, 12 Apostles, etc.
Well, so how has business been for you in this roller coaster that's been 2020?
It's been really interesting, actually. We've first one we supported locals with some pizzas on a Saturday night as takeaway. But with a town of 185 people, you can imagine that wasn't really necessarily, that was as much for supporting the community as it was for being a viable business venture. But we were very fortunate. We spent a lot of time in developing a website, which just happened to go live on the 1st of March. So we were all ready to hit the ground running for online sales. Plus, we had obviously a really good relationship already with 1 Hour Out from having visited us.
Oh yeah,
sometime.
I do.
So,
my visit to Forrest and to your cafe was one of the first in us exploring that end of Victoria, and it was just one of those great highlights. And I know you've actually got one of my personal highlights from that trip right there with you. It's your incredibly special hot chocolate, and we've got to make it now because the milk's hot, people. So let's talk us through it.
And I'll just sip along through it.
Yeah.
So our hot chocolate is our signature. One of our, well, really it probably is our signature product. So we make our own hot chocolate sauce, which you kind of probably can't see in here. It's a bit dark. Gives us a little bit of extra chocolate. You can see it on my finger now. And we have hot chocolate bombs. I've used my personal favourite here, which is a blood orange hot chocolate bomb. So it's hollow in the top, and the bottom half of all of our chocolates are natural ganaches. So this one is a dark chocolate ganache, ganache is just chocolate and cream. We don't add any preservatives or any sugars or anything. So it's dark chocolate and cream, but what we have added is blood orange puree. So we pop that into the cup. Now, you won't be able to see this, but normally what I suggest people do is pour the milk over in a steady stream over one spot, and it'll melt through that hollow top layer.
This is what I remember about this moment. It's theatre. It's like this is that theatrical little moment.
It's exactly right. It adds nothing but dramatic experience. And then we need to stir the whole thing in. So if we pour on our milk, and I'm nearly through. There it goes. So there we go. So now I've got to stir all of the chocolate into my milk, and I'll show you what the hot chocolate bomb looks like. So now we're down to this big lump of ganache, which gets stirred through the chocolate. So that milk is now a slightly light milk, but it will become a nice dark milk. And I get to have this while we talk. It takes a bit to stir it through, so I'll do that. And I've got homemade marshmallow, which I'll use my fingers because I'm the only one drinking it, and which we pop on top. So we make our own marshmallow here. Again, no preservatives. We make it in the French style with egg whites, and that should be really lovely. You can watch me drink.
When we were there, it must be it was just after you opened the cafe. So
it was.
And we sat out on that balcony with those hot chocolates, and you have to do it. I mean, it slows you down. You have to, and you've got this place to take in whilst you're stirring this chocolate in, and there's no hurry. It's just lovely. It's not fast food. It's just the slow way of serving a hot chocolate.
And I know our mothers always told us not to play with our food, but we actually for us, I mean, the whole thing about Platypi Chocolate is that playful element. We've try to bring playful into all of our products. And we think this is our signature play with your food, and it's a memorable experience. So I'm nearly done.
Speaking of memorable experiences, today we've got something a bit special. Mandy sent us down one of her new spring boxes that's got all kinds of goodies in it, and we're going to give it away to one of you beautiful people, one of you commenters. So just leave a comment below, and we'll select someone at random to post an amazing box out to. But Mandy, just take me through, whilst you're stirring there, take me through what's in the spring package.
Sorry. And lick my fingers. I like to make a mess. Okay, so basically what we wanted to do with this pack is to bring in all of the fun flavours of spring. So we use, as I said, we don't use any artificial products in our chocolates. So we've got a couple of our chocolate coated goodies there. So our first. Yeah, so if you want to demonstrate I've actually got some here too, the dark chocolate, the rolled chocolate in the packets.
Yeah.
So I think you've got there the dark chocolate raspberries on the outside.
So and then raspberry dusted hazelnuts.
Now, the important thing about this one actually, Mike, is we actually had this came about through a discussion we had with our team. Normally when you buy hazelnuts or almonds, they're quite shiny, but that is actually artificial. The shine on those is actually created afterwards. It's a beautiful shiny tempered chocolates you get in the cases, etc. That's a different process. But with these, they're made shiny by being coated in things like shellacs and artificial coatings after that. And we thought, we've made beautiful, wholesome, healthy chocolates. Why are we doing this to them? So we've made a conscious effort to stop doing that. So instead, we either roll out nuts. So we always say we don't polish your nuts at Platypi Chocolate. So we'll.
Oh, we seem to have lost. No, she's back. She's back.
Yeah. Instead, what we do is, sorry, I'm on my phone and someone just tried to ring me.
They've probably seen you on the internet.
In freeze-dried fruits or cocos, or we'll just leave them unshiny. So because that is a much better, much healthier way of managing it, we think. Plus, we're supporting another regional business with those raspberries. Yeah. So we've also got another hazelnut, which is in white chocolate, and that's we've got passion fruit. Which is sort of gives you that nice tang that goes with white chocolate. And we've got a couple of other little bars. So we have our milk chocolate bar with apricots and
one here.
Macadamia nuts. Apricots and almonds and coconut. We've got another topped block there. Now, what you normally have the ruby chocolate, and there is a little story that I had to tell about the ruby chocolate. I was telling Mike there is a strike on the docks in Sydney, and all the ruby chocolate is floating out in the Pacific Ocean. So there's none anywhere in Australia. So instead,
2020, we can cope with change.
We have to adapt, pivot. That's what we're doing. It's the new 2020. So down here we have lots of echidnas in our native environment, and they come out of hibernation in spring. So instead, we're going to put a couple of our gorgeous little honeycomb
little echidnas.
Because we can't do the ruby block. So apologies for that. We've got 4 raspberry hearts, raspberry caramel heart.
Yeah. These are the ones that, I mean, I should say to viewers, we are actually going to be sending out a fresh pack, not this one that I've opened and handled. I'm actually going to give one of these to Claire, who's operating the panel today. There you go. And I'm going to try one myself. So these little hearts are what, Mandy?
So they're a raspberry vanilla caramel. So just while you're chomping on it, they're a really nice flavour. When you first eat it, when you first bite into it, you get the vanilla. The caramel. You get very much a caramel flavour, and then the raspberry develops as it goes to the back of the palate. So you start getting. I don't know, Mike. Is that what you're sensing? You get the raspberry which is again raspberry puree, all natural ingredients, nothing artificial, no preservatives. So everything's done on short batch, so that we get it out to you very shortly after. So don't do like you might be able to do with some boxes of chocolates where you can pop them in the back of the cupboard for 8 months. We keep everything nice and fresh and natural, so that you're getting nice fresh product delivered fresh to your door.
So just while we're talking here, Mandy, and you can talk us through the next thing, we've got a little bit of footage of what goes on in the factory. It's a small operation, isn't it? But you keep things small and local and fresh, which I really love.
And handmade. So we do. We don't picture a factory with big assembly lines or anything like that. All of our chocolate is created. We do have tempering machines to make sure that things are beautifully kept in temper. But from there, everything's hand done, hand piped, hand dipped. Hand decorated. So our girls take great care to every chocolate is hand finished. So gives you an idea that of the time and the care that goes into them.
Well, I've got to say, Mandy, there's a lot of love for your chocolate on both of our streaming platforms right now. Someone's just said that they love raspberries and coated with chocolate just makes them even better. What is it about that raspberry chocolate combo, do you think?
Look, I think it's a little bit of the tang of the raspberry. 55% cocoa mass dark chocolate. So it's not a super dark chocolate, but it still has, so it's not a super bitter dark chocolate, but it does just actually give it that little bit of vibrant tang to go with it. We find fruit goes really well, like all for apricot, coconut, raspberry, passion fruit, all goes really nice, gives chocolate a really nice lift. So we coat blueberries, we coat sour cherries, we have cranberries in our chocolates as well. So,
yeah. And
again, they're all natural.
People are loving that hot chocolate idea and wondering how they might...
I'm loving my hot chocolate, everybody. I never stop to sit and have a hot chocolate, but I make dozens a day, so I'm actually really enjoying this.
Well, someone's asking how they might achieve that at home. I think that's one of the beautiful things about Platypi Chocolate is that you've really got to go there to experience that. It's one of those, you can melt chocolate into milk at home, and I was going to do that here today, but that little bomb of chocolate that you've got there is so unique. There really isn't a recreating that at home, is there?
No. No, and what we do is in one of the packs that is available on the 1 Hour Out market site is we've put together a favourites pack, which is the 4 things that sell best at Platypi Chocolate. And in that is a bonbon of hot chocolate balls. So there's a dark one, a milk one, and a hazelnut one. So the dark and milk are a little different to what we have here. They are still the ball, but they've got dark chocolate calettes rather than the ganache. But the hazelnut one is exactly what you'll have here. It's got Gianduja chocolate, which is milk chocolate with 30% hazelnut paste, And so there's 3 bombs in that pack, along with some of our other favourites, along with 4 of the echidnas that I just showed you, and a couple of other things.
People are saying that they're really looking forward to visiting that part of Victoria again. The Otways are an extraordinary kind of pocket of beauty in southern Victoria, just inland off the coast. It kind of extends right down to the water there, doesn't it? You can take that Great Forest Drive and...
Yeah, well, from here, this is really, we call Forrest the gateway to the Otways, because this is the start of moving through the trees. You can't really see out my window, but our balcony sits among 5 metres up into the canopy of the trees, which are only about, 15 metres away from the balcony edge. But we're also, with COVID and having to, there's that pivot word again, not being able to have our 50 seats inside, we're just completing a dine with your dog area under the balcony, which is right amongst the base of the trees.
Well, I'd love to say that dine with your dog is what we were doing here earlier when Rosie went off, but that's so appealing to me. She does actually love to sit with us while we eat, not necessarily an incredibly... she doesn't love to walk on the streets, but she does love to sit with us while we eat. So dine with the dog, tell us about that area.
Well, with the new regulations, and to be honest, Mike, I think we need to prepare for 12 months of changed trading. So we may get to the point of having 20 indoors. We've got our balcony outside. If you like, I can try and pivot the phone and give you a little look at what that is. But we have 20 seats out on our balcony, which I'm not sure.
Look at it.
So it's a lovely view out there, and you can see that it's amongst the trees. I hope I can't see my little picture.
And you can see that you're literally just sitting there staring at those extraordinary tree trunks that are the real feature of the Otway Forest.
And into the canopy, and then we have another 10 seats at the front. But what we're doing is creating a beautiful paved area downstairs that allows people to sit with those in, because you can't come bring dogs. The only way to get to our balcony is through the cafe, so that rules out any pets. Yes. We were asked every single day. So this new area downstairs, which we've had a lot of support to create. We were given a grant from the Council of Small Business, which helped with that. And of course, Dan Andrews' money for outdoor dining. So we were able to create 20 seats downstairs, along with a dog bowl for each table, and really focus on.
You're right. That style of dining is going to be the norm for a little while yet, and to have actually invested in that is a terrific thing. We're getting some really great comments. People, don't forget that we are going to be sending out one of Mandy's spring chocolate packs to one lucky commenter on today's post, either on Instagram or on Facebook. So yeah, hit us up, ask a question, anything you want to know. Mandy, I seem to remember that that Forrest is in this little circuit that you can do as a foodie. You're not that far from Bray, and you're not that far from the coast, and you can, as a great sort of foodie region, you can really you could live large down that way, couldn't you?
Well, you don't even have to really leave Forrest. One of the things we say about Forrest is it's a small town, it's a walkable town. We have 60 kilometres of mountain bike trails. Then the trail starts literally next to runs beside. You can see bike riders pass from sitting on the balcony. And they're about to be upgraded with new downhill trails, etc. Being built. We have another 400 metres down the road is Forrest Brewery with all obviously small batch brewery beers. So it's what's the word I'm looking for here? It's a boutique brewery. And then across the road is the Forrest General Store, and Sally distills her own vodkas and gins, and
I don't think you'd be capable of leaving Forrest, let alone have to.
Well, that's it. Just as well it's walkable, because you wouldn't be able to drive it. So yes, we're just in our own space. We have lots to offer, but you're right. There are so many fabulous. In the summer, there's all the berry farms just down the road. 6 k's down the road at Barwon Downs is Wally's Berry Farm, and he does ice creams, etc. Lots of beers, wines. Very much highly recommend Dinny Goonan's Shiraz we use we actually soak raisins in Dinigoon and Shiraz and then to coat them in dark chocolate and sprinkle them with cocoa. So that's something that people can buy online. But you can come visit all of the areas in the region.
Yes.
And as you said, Bray as well.
Yeah, well, so speaking of the region, we've got, obviously restrictions on Metro Melbourne at the moment, and that's been the great sort of tradition is to head south or head up the coast or, inland from Melbourne. But I imagine now you're starting to see, well, at the moment you can only see people from other regional areas.
Yeah, a lot of people from Ballarat. We've had an enormous amount of people from Ballarat actually coming through, Bendigo. We're only 2 hours from Melbourne, so my daughter lives in Yarraville. Not that I've seen her in quite some time, but it's an hour and 50 minutes from here to her house in Yarraville. So we're not a long way away. We're an easy drive as well. I think there's one set of traffic lights between here and Yarraville, so that's nice. But we're seeing people from Bendigo, Ballarat. Obviously not getting any interstate visitors or any international visitors. For us in Forrest, we haven't relied heavily on international tourists. I know they're finding it harder along the Great Ocean Road to adjust because obviously it's like doing Cinque Terre or going to Venice. It's very much an international mecca, but for us, domestic tourists have always been our big market, and Melbourne and the Bellarine Peninsula, Geelong, Bellarine have been coming down a lot as well.
You are uniquely Australian. I mean, there's chocolate the world over, but with a name like Platypi Chocolate, which I've got to ask about as well, you and those little echidnas and your commitment to the Australian bush there. Tell us about the name.
So we have platypuses, apparently it's technically called. You can do a platypus tour on Lake Elizabeth, which is also a beautiful bushwalk, just a 10-minute drive out of town. And they're a slightly endangered species because they rely so heavily on water quality. So it's a absolutely fabulous thing to be able to do a canoe on Lake Elizabeth and see the platypus, and that's something we do have people come from all over the world for. But I said to you earlier about being playful and being fun. We really wanted to be that. When we sat down and thought, what do we want to create? We wanted to create decadence, and hence the beautiful presentation of our hot chocolates. We wanted to create fun, hence the play with playing with them. And we wanted to unadulterated product. And the platypi came from the whole thing about when we sat down and said, well, let's go the platypus. And then we went, is it platypus plural, platypuses, or is it platypi? And we thought, look, let's just make that part of the fun. So we came up with platypi, and we variously have people tell us that it's not platypi, it's platypus. It's, like fish. Or it's someone contacted me from the Platypus Research Centre in Tasmania to say, you do know it's platypuses, don't you? And so it's all been part of the fun.
Oh, good. And look, we've got some questions about chocolate here. So what kind of chocolate do you use, and, where do you get it from?
Okay, so we get it from Belgium. So we get it in what's called a form. So it's a little bit like, think of the little chocolate buttons you get at the supermarket is probably the way to do it. But the ones that you get there are cooking chocolate, and cooking chocolate has a vegetable oil in it. Shouldn't have palm oil, some do. We use a couverture chocolate from Belgium.
What does that word mean, couverture?
Couverture has got to do with the percentage cocoa mass of the chocolate. And it also has no oils in it at all. So, there are sugars and milk powders and soy lecithin. It's all natural product. We've tried a couple of different chocolates, and the one that we use is Callebaut chocolate from Belgium, and we think that has the best flavour, but also the best mouthfeel. You think about when you melt chocolate in your mouth and you can sort of feel it melting. You want that beautiful feel to the chocolate in your mouth. So we find that's a really good quality chocolate.
And that name is kind of synonymous with quality chocolates all over the world, isn't it? They are no small deal.
No. It's one of the largest providers internationally. Swiss chocolate's a lot milkier, a lot creamier generally. Belgian chocolate has has a little less of that. So if you think Lindt is actually usually, you think very creamy. It's a very milky sort of chocolate. But we find this one particularly good, and that's what, a lot of people say, I like a really, an 80% dark or so that's got to do with the percentage of cocoa, what's called the cocoa mass in the chocolate. It can make it quite bitter. But what we want to do is have a chocolate that gives you that strength of flavour, but doesn't impact. So I talked about how my hot chocolate had the blood orange puree. We don't want you to lose the blood orange because of the chocolate. So we want to strike that nice even balance between the flavours that you bring into the chocolate and the chocolate itself. So we find that one works really nicely for that.
Well, I hope all of our Metro Melbourne viewers are not having too big of a moment, just, right at the start where we poured that milk into the chocolate and we made that hot chocolate. Look, we are going to get out to regional Victoria again, and we're not far off, and we're really looking forward to coming out. It'll be such a treat when those restrictions are lifted and we can join you on that deck again. Look, Mandy, we've had some really great questions and comments here. People who are driving all the way from the northern Victorian border who have been regulars. People are planning their next road trip, saying that's got to be our first. And somebody else has recommended the Forrest Brewery. And a special comment here. Someone has said that they love how you connect and relate your name with our native animal, which is a lovely thing to have said.
Yeah, we get great pleasure from actually all of the animals. That we have kangaroos on our block all the time. We had 3 deer on the block recently, which is a little bit oh dear, because they're not so good for our environment. But we've had the odd snake. We have our echidnas, and they are so much fun. And actually, I can tell you there was one found its way into the Forrest Brewery one day and was sitting under the table. So the koalas, we have plenty of those. The only thing is most people are a bit disappointed they can't see them while they sit here, but Australian animals are very timid and they generally come out very early in the morning or very late in the evening, and that's why the poor things run into vehicles on the road, because they're more difficult to see. So it's not something you're likely to see, although if you're out and about on our trails, you will see koalas and echidnas, particularly at this time of year.
Tracy King here has asked on Facebook, what flavour marshmallow do you recommend in a hot chocolate?
The one we make ourselves. Yeah. So Tracy, we actually use 2 sorts of marshmallows. We just keep with a vanilla marshmallow for our hot chocolates, and we roll them in cocoa. So it enhances the cocoa flavour, but it doesn't mask the flavour. It depends a little bit. I would look for ones that are natural, because if you're going to buy a flavoured one, but it's not natural flavour. So we use raspberry juice in our raspberry marshmallow, but we don't put it into our hot chocolates because we want the chocolate flavour to come through. I think marshmallow is often about the texture of the marshmallow. It doesn't lose its texture sitting on the top. And I'm looking at mine, and it still hasn't even all melted in. So something that just becomes sugar. Yeah. So.
Well, look, Mandy, I want to say thanks so much. It's been a real pleasure to have you on Outcast, and we just can't wait till we can get back down your way again and join you on that deck or outside with our noisy dog. She's very quiet in public, I can assure you. But thanks so much. A special pleasure to talk and eat chocolate with you, and thanks everybody for commenting. You've got a last few seconds to get your comments in, and we'll go back through and make contact with you afterwards when we've chosen a winner. Well, thanks, beautiful OHO people. I hope you've enjoyed another little insight into what's going on with a passionate producer outside the metro ring. Please make sure you like this video, follow our Insta and Facebook pages and our YouTube channel. And for more updates, make sure you subscribe. I think on YouTube you've got to click the bell or whatever it is the kids say that you've got to do. If there's someone around that you think that we should know about or feature on Outcast, then please drop us a line from the contact link in our bio, or just leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. See you next time with another passionate producer on Outcast.